Chapter 6209. Steve has figured it out. Now that Charlie has dragged him onto the pirate ship, he definitely can't be a prisoner moaning and groaning all day long on the ship. To borrow the words of an ancient Chinese person, make peace with yourself as you come. The most important thing is to find a way to settle down on Charlie's ship. Whether he can be the clan leader in the future almost depends on Charlie's thoughts. He didn't want to let himself be the one, he just needed to let Helena sell some pills to the old man every now and then. And he could basically sit in the crown prince's seat until he died. Therefore, whether he can be the leader of the clan or whether he can live a long life in the future depends on Charlie's wishes. In this case, why not just follow him? Since he wants to follow him, he must first show some sincerity. Investing in Aurus Hill in person is a good way to bring both himself and money closer to Charlie. When Charlie saw Steve expressing his attitude, he smiled and said, "Aurus Hill is a good place with outstanding people. Since Mr. Rothschild plans to invest in Aurus Hill, as an Aurus Hill native, I will naturally welcome him warmly." Steve was afraid Charlie didn't want to take him to play. But now that he saw him expressing his welcome, he breathed a sigh of relief and said without hesitation, "With Mr. Wade's words, I feel relieved." Charlie nodded and picked up the bottle of white wine that had not yet been poured out. And in front of Steve, took out a blood-dispersing and heart-saving elixir, and then put the elixir into the bottle. The black elixir melted instantly when it entered the wine, dyeing the wine into a light grey-brown color. Steve was shocked and thought, is this meant for him to drink? Immediately afterward, Charlie picked up the wine glass and poured some for Steve, and then poured a little more into Peter's glass. Steve saw that what Charlie poured to Peter was almost 2/5, and what he poured to himself was only 1/5. He quickly said, "Mr. Wade, I can drink a little more." Charlie smiled and said, "Steve, although the medicinal wine is good, don't drink it too much." After saying that, he poured the rest into his own cup. Steve was greedy, but he didn't dare to say anything. After all, the 5th was for nothing. If he acted greedy at this time, he would probably disgust Charlie. So, he said very respectfully, "Thank you, Mr. Wade. Thank you, Mr. Wade." Peter was also flattered and said, "Master Wade, thank you so much for this." Charlie smiled lightly and said, "Uncle, we don't have to be so polite like before. We drink this together as a way to welcome Steve to Aurus Hill in advance. From now on, he will become the top foreign investor in Aurus Hill. We can also contribute to Aurus Hill's efforts to attract foreign investment. It's great." Peter nodded heavily, picked up the wine glass, and said, "Then welcome Steve to invest in Aurus Hill." Steve quickly picked up the wine glass with both hands and said loudly, "Don't worry, I will do my best. Do all that I can." After saying that, he immediately looked at Charlie. After all, if Charlie didn't speak, he wouldn't dare to drink the medicinal wine given to him. Charlie picked up the wine glass with a smile and said, "Here, let's do it." As soon as Steve heard this, he quickly picked up the wine glass and drank the strong liquor in the glass. As soon as the wine enters his mouth, the feeling is obviously different from before. Although drinking alcohol is also a hot stream, the hot stream is spicy and stimulating. But this medicinal wine has a warm and nourishing feeling. After drinking it, every pore seems to be particularly comfortable. After all, it is a blood-dissipating and heart-saving pill that has been enhanced by the medicinal cauldron. Its efficacy is more than double that of the earliest version. So this 5th pill can at least restore Steve to the state he was in 2 years ago. This time, he felt the overbearing medicinal effect. He was no longer so tired. Sitting on the chair, he no longer felt soreness in his back or buttocks. Even his eyes were much better than before. It seemed that this old man had seen considerable progress in terms of degrees. All in all, he feels as relaxed as ever before. Looking at Peter opposite, his complexion is obviously much rosier than before. And even the wrinkles are much less visible to the naked eye. Steve felt envious when he thought that the medicine he drank was twice as effective as his own. It was also at this moment that Steve couldn't help but sigh. Mr. Wade, I finally know why my father cares so much about your elixir. This, what I drink, is not medicine, it's a machine to turn back time. Charlie smiled and said, Steve, remember one thing. Whoever lives longer is the real winner. If you are lucky, your life has not been halfway through yet. And the days ahead are still very long. With that, the possibilities are endless. Steve quickly stood up and bowed deeply to Charlie. I hope I can have the opportunity to be with Mr. Wade and listen to his teachings all the time.